Hey, this is Sam Black with my second match with Lantern of Insight Mill in Modern. I have a hand that doesn't really do anything and has way too many lands, so I'm going to mulligan. And this hand is a lot better. I can find stuff and I have Ensnaring Bridge, which is definitely one of the most important cards in the deck. So I'll keep, and I'll just start playing my cards. I'm going to hope that I don't need double Ensnaring Bridge in game 1. And I think I have enough mana that I can skip on Mox Opal, and it doesn't tap for mana right now. So I'm just going to take Pyrite Spellbomb, which allows me to get a card out of my hand and get an extra artifact and play to protect Glimmervoid, as well as offering some removal if I need it, or just cycling later. I think it's reasonable to follow the plan that you just bolt the bird in this spot. Plus it's a card that helps get around Ensnaring Bridge. Ugh, it's pretty good against me. I'm gonna lead with Lantern of Insight so that I can decide if I want to cast Ancient Stirrings. I have no interest in drawing Surgical Extractions, so there's no reason not to play the Stirrings. I think I just take the Shredder. And then I can play Glimmervoid and play the Shredder. And I guess I actually want my opponent to draw Wild Nacatl since it doesn't do anything against these Ensnaring Bridges. So I will not activate the Shredder right now. Alright. I think that I don't want to draw Duress, and I do want my opponent to draw Lone Lion, so I'm just going to Codex Shredder myself. That's probably better. If I play Ensnaring Bridge, Wild Nacatl can't attack me, but Scavenging Ooze still can. It's probably fine. I think this is the best way to spend my mana at the moment. My goal is just going to be to have my opponent draw creatures, so I'm not going to use the Shredder. That's an interesting creature. Am I worried about what that does, or am I happy about what that does? I guess it's pretty bad for me if my opponent has Wolf Run. And given that I want to draw my Codex Shredder and that I kill my opponent through milling, I think that it's worth getting rid of the Knight of the Reliquary. Obviously not before taking damage from this ooze. Oh, well, if my opponent already has a knight, then my opponent can already find Wolf Run, but I do have a lot more looks at giving my opponent something bad, and I do want to be milling, so I think I shred here. Definitely don't want my opponent to draw Bolt. Perfect. I can mill that. Now my opponent can't knight for it. Stomping Ground I'm fine with. Now Ancient Stirrings. And take a Bell. And I don't need another Ensnaring Bridge, so I'm going to use the Bell. I have to decide if I want to draw a Bell. Bell lets me kill faster, but it doesn't stop my opponent's attacks. If I can keep everything as is and I'm taking 2 a turn, and I'm milling for 1, 2, 3, 4 a turn, 5 a turn with the draw, that's like 9 turns to kill my opponent, so I'm losing that race. So I need to do something to block or gain life or mill faster. I think I want to draw not Bell. Getting rid of Pridemage is obviously a bonus. My opponent's trying to keep Pridemage in the deck, I guess, by searching now. Alright, Pyrite Spellbomb is very good. Takes care of one of these hierarchs. I definitely don't want my opponent to draw Helix. My opponent's going to try to keep Helix in the deck. More ooze is totally fine. Because my opponent can shuffle, I don't think that it's risky to use a mill here, since my opponent's likely going to reset the draw before drawing anyway. So I'll just get rid of this, because I think what matters is how much mill I have on my opponent's turn, and I want to work toward killing them. Drawing Spell's Gate obviously is very good, since it stops the Noble Hierarch clock. And now things are locked up enough that I'm totally stable, so I can only use my mill effect when my opponent's going to be drawing something real, and then force my opponent to use shuffles to force me to use mills. Alright, I don't want to draw cliffs, and I don't want my opponent to draw helix, so I'm going to use the bell. I don't want my opponent to draw bolt. I don't want my opponent to draw Pridemage. I don't really want to draw Lantern. Yeah, I think I'm going to mill the Lantern. Drawing Abrupt Decay seems fine. I don't want my opponent to draw Pridemage. Smiter's good. Pridemage is not allowed. Lightning Bolt's not allowed, and I don't want Llanowar Wastes. So we use the bell. Needle seems fine, and I'm definitely fine with Windswept Heath. So I'm going to play this on Qasali Pridemage, because I don't care about the other things that my opponent has. And that's just one more card that I don't need to bother getting rid of. Okay. Well, that was pretty sweet. So I'm going to want Welding Jar to protect from Pridemage and whatever removal my opponent's boarding in. And Pyroclasm is weird. It kills Hierarch and Pridemage, but Pridemage is mostly just going to be a removal spell, and Hierarch matters, but only a little. and it doesn't kill most of my opponent's creatures, so I think it's bad. Sun Droplet is interesting, but ultimately I think low impact. I think Surgical Extraction or Duress would both be reasonable things to cut. I think this... Surgical Extraction is very good in this deck, but it is very bad against my opponent. But it's very good if my opponent has multiple Ancient Grudges, which would be horrible for me. Duress is good against sideboard cards, but bad against my opponent's deck. I think I'm going to cut Duress. I think Welding Jar is doing a better version of what Duress is doing. I wonder if Sun Droplet would be better than some of these other spells, like Probe or Surgical or Inquisition. Bow of Nylea is also interesting, since the way that my opponent's threatening me is by incrementally attacking my life total going along. But it is very slow and fragile. I'm going to try one over a Probe. Oh, right after submitting I remembered that Stony Silence is an issue, and I might want... I guess it's hard to put my opponent on Stony Silence rather than Ancient Grudge or Stony Silence in large numbers, so I don't think it's something I can just bring claim in the dark for, and I have Inquisition. It's more of an argument for keeping Duress. But anyway, I'm going to keep this. I have Inquisition to attack a Stony Silence or whatever, and I have my Engine and Lance and spells and stuff. It's a good hand, except that it doesn't have Bridge, but I have Stirring's Defiant Bridge. My first priority is going to be Inquisition to get rid of the potential Stony Silence. Ancient Grudge, Helix. Not a great hand. I guess I'd just get rid of half of Grudge. Let's play Lantern to figure out what I want to be doing here. See if I need to mill my opponent's top card. Opponent's drawing land, that's great, and I'm drawing Spellskite, which is fine. I think it's good enough that I want to probe here to have it. Right, Helix and land. And a Snaring Bridge on top. That's ideal. Let's just get my engine going. Save my Ancient Stirring since I'm already drawing a bridge that I want, and I'm going to need to find a third land. Pride Mage is something I'm going to want to mill, but I don't want to mill my Ensnaring Bridge, so I'm not going to do it right now. I guess that land will work, so Ancient Stirrings to get it, or a better land. I think Glimmer Void counts as a better land. Now let's mill us. I think I have to let my opponent draw Helix and just play a Spellskite here. I think I can actually afford to take this hit. I don't want to let my opponent kill my Spellskite with Helix. This is a little awkward. I guess it's most mana efficient to play a bridge. Alright, I think at this point, now that I have two bridges, I have to let my opponent use Helix on Spellskite, if that's what they want to do. Now, Ensnaring Bridge can be killed, but I have another one. I think I just play all of this to force that. I'm actually just going to name Wooded Foothills to deny my opponent the shuffle. And then it just means I don't have to bother milling that, and my opponent doesn't get value out of it, and I can mill other stuff that I would want to turn off. So now my opponent can blow up a bridge and put me to 2, but is then out of ability to do things that matter. Now the problem is future grudges, since milling them doesn't stop them. But I think that the best thing I can do there is just hope to find a Spellskite or life gain before my opponent finds one, and be very careful about milling my opponent. Obviously, Helix is a card I have to mill. Wolf Run's actually fine right now. Although I don't want to draw Inquisition, so I guess I'll mill us. Fine with drawing an extra bridge. feel about Domri? My guess is it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't think Domri does anything relevant. Especially since I can just needle it. Oh, and I guess I can get rid of Ancient Grudge by sacking Lantern of Insight to just shuffle it away. That's good. Okay, so Domri's fine, but we're going to have to mill in response to the attempt to put Pride Mage in hand. Which is too bad because it means I'll lose the needle, but that's fine. Alright. Ethan's up. Lantern is fine to play. And now I'll pass and decide in my opponent's draw step if I want to kill this Domri. Is Domri more annoying than anything else? No, because, well, I can mill Hierarchs and Domri's actually in play. Yeah, I think I just get rid of Domri. I don't want to draw Inquisition. I do want to draw Codex Shredder because it lets me mill only my opponent when I don't want to mill myself because I have a Boat Nightly on top. Molten Rain would be lethal. Let's not allow that. Question is it worth sacking the Lantern so that I can keep my bow? I think the answer is pretty clearly yes. Much better. To play bow, and bird is fine. Arid Mace is fine. Guess I'll play Spellskite. Wild and Coddle's fine. Now I have everything basically locked up. Oh. Right, I needed to stop in my opponent's upkeep. Fortunately, that doesn't kill me. But it was remarkably close to killing me. And it was an argument against using the bow when I did. Although it's an argument based only on I had my stop set wrong. So now I'm going to take a point from the bird. But I can just kill that with the bow, and then Spellskite will be blocking for me. I don't like the tops of either of our libraries, so I'll use Bell. Now I like my opponents, but I don't love mine. So I'll just Codex Shredder myself. And I'm not going to bother fighting it further. Kill the bird. Let's mill the Knight of the Reliquary. Just gives my opponent shuffles, and I don't really want to give my opponent shuffles. One shuffle is fine, I just don't want repeated shuffles. Gain 3 life. There's an argument for ignoring Bolt at this point, but I don't want to let my opponent just build up burn spells and start attacking Spellskites with them, so I'm gonna mill the Bolt. I guess I actually shouldn't be using Bell. Ancient Stirrings is above average. Funny that our libraries both didn't change. I don't think that my opponent is using fetch lands correctly in this match, by the way. I think rather than trying to keep good stuff in their library, they should be using it just, before drawing to try to find something good. Let's use this. I think I just want more bridges. Or Academy Runes. Academy Runes is even better. I don't know what my options would look like. Alright, I'll figure out if I want to get some of those in a little bit. I probably will. Goyf obviously doesn't do anything. Lone Lion doesn't do anything. I think I'll start with Spellskite. And I'll gain 3 life. Oops. I guess drawing Welding Jar is fine too. obviously great. Alright, my opponent's trying to time me out, of course. I'll gain 3 life. I could just make the hierarch bigger so it can't keep attacking, but maybe I'm at the point where I should just be getting belt. No, I don't think it can be right to mill more aggressively. Play jar. I guess Grudge doesn't do anything at this point. I have infinite redundancies, so I can just be milling more aggressively. Stop attacking. Alright, let's just start milling. I guess knight's fine at this point. Alright, that's match.